Our next project, painting 2, is called Through the Window. In this project, you will draw a scene where we can see inside of a building or home through a window to what's going on inside. These are some examples of one of my favorite artists, American artist Edward Hopper. Just take a look at some of these. Some of them are very eerie, even a little creepy. They're all very psychological. A lot of art critics have tried to interpret his work, and many come up thinking that they have a lot to do with isolation and loneliness. Try to kind of look at them and see if you happen to see where they might get that interpretation. So even though there are other figures in this picture, this woman who's looking at a letter seems very self-possessed. Just really everyone around her has just disappeared as she ponders what this letter is about. Even the city street looks desolate. The windows in the adjoining building nearby are dark. You could say the same about his most famous painting, Nighthawks. And even though there are people together, none of them really seem like they are fully interacting with one another. Even this couple, you know, she's staring at her cigarette or at her hand, and he's just kind of staring off to the distance. The guy who works at the diner is just gazing in their general direction, but doesn't look like he's actually talking to them. And then you have this loner off to the side who's not interacting at all. But even beyond that, this light in the darkness, it's surrounded by this dark city street. The shops have closed down, nobody's walking by. This one's very interesting to me. Yeah, we have two people. They're in the comfort of their own home, but they're not looking in each other's direction. There's a coldness there. There's still a loneliness, even though two people are in the room together. And then you have, you know, like this one, which feels like you shouldn't even be looking in this window. It seems like kind of a creeper from an upper apartment is looking into this window as somebody's changing, which is a little disturbing, but it just gives us this sense of it. We almost feel like you're in the middle of a movie or like a horror film, like what's going to happen next. And then this just looks like we're in the middle of nowhere. You've got this woman gazing outside, and it's kind of similar to this office one where this guy's at his desk, and you know, a lot of the windows don't even look like windows. Now in Nighthawks, we do see evidence of like the edge of the building, the edge of the window. But like in this one, the window just seems completely gone. Like it's not even translucent. We don't see any reflections. The same with this one too. And with these as well. So I'll leave that up to you. If you decide to create a window that's believable with reflections, that's fine. If you just want to leave the absence of space and we'll just assume that it's a window like Hopper. Yours don't have to be about loneliness and isolation, although they can be. I would like you to consider making them about something though, okay? Like, are they about joy? Are they about sorrow? Are they about a relationship of, you know, the people that are in the piece? Things don't necessarily have to be about people, but I would like some action to be taking place or some scene to be taking place. We're not just drawing pictures of architecture, okay? So although a building is part of this, what's inside the building is really what matters, okay? So again, the assignment's called In the Window, and this is one of our first like really open-ended prompts. I'm not telling you exactly what you're painting. You get to make the scene, and that's really where we're gonna spend the majority of our beginning of this piece is planning. So I should see a lot of sketches. I'm gonna ask to see them this week. So there should be a lot of sketches about, you know, could this be in a city? Could this be in a suburban environment? Could this be in the country? Am I gonna have a close-up of people, or is it going to be a figure that's far away? Are there gonna be any props like vehicles or bicycles or anything else, or is it just gonna be desolate streets like Edward Hopper's? That's up to you, okay? But it will be painted, and we can also start to think about color schemes. You can see he used a lot of muted colors, so a lot of neutrals, lots of like grays and tans and olive greens and things like that. You could use more bright and saturated colors if you like. All right, so we'll talk more about this later, but start to think about what your scene is going to be all about and how we are going to include a window and an interior space and happening in this before we begin.